Hello, and welcome to Founder Freedom, From Hustler to CEO, the podcast built for e-commerce entrepreneurs and small business owners who are ready to work less, earn more, and scale smarter. I'm your host, Stephen Palmer, and today we're talking about how simple 3D print in a basement turned into a full-blown e-commerce operation. Meet Pete Cozeolino, founder of 10 Spot Tools, the guy behind 250 plus custom inserts, organizing toolboxes across America. Let's jump in with Pete. Welcome, Pete. How are you doing today?
Hi, Stephen. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing real good. Thanks for asking. So can you tell us about 10 Spot Tools value proposition, Pete?
Sure. So we design, manufacture, and sell 3D printed organizer inserts for modular toolbox systems. Right now, most of the stuff we make is specifically for the Milwaukee Packout system, but we've also been recently expanding into DeWalt Top System as well as Makita MacTrack boxes. And we're going to be doing Klein Mod Box and maybe Flex boxes pretty soon too. Most of the stuff we do right now is also specifically for Milwaukee tools, but again, we've been breaking into more DeWalt tools, Makita tools, and some other types of accessories lately. As you mentioned, we offer over 250 original designs that you can only get from us, and we also carry a variety of designs from some other designers as well.
Nice. So what inspired you to create your brand, Pete?
Well, I had an impact socket set, which is made by Milwaukee, and it comes in this kind of crappy blow molded case, and it looked like it would fit perfectly in one of their smaller pack-out boxes. So I wanted to put the socket set in the pack-out box. So before I was into 3D printing, I was in construction, and I used a program called SketchUp to draw up custom cabinets, deck jobs, things like that. So I used that same program to make myself a model to put that impact set in a pack-out box instead of the box it came in. When I was done with it, I had a little bit of extra room. So I posted pictures of it on Reddit to ask people what I should do with the extra room. And overwhelmingly, the response was, I don't care what you do with the extra room. Please send me one of these things. And, after that, I had people asking me to do it for other socket sets and then for power tools. And it all just kind of grew organically from there. Within about 6 months of starting the business, I had to quit my day job and do this full time.
That's awesome. That's a slingshot situation there.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it.
Love it. Love it. So when you're kind of looking over the market, like what were some of the gaps that you saw that led you to pursue rolling out your business here?
Well, it pretty much all came from where I started. Milwaukee makes these great tools and they make these great toolboxes, but the tools don't come in the toolboxes. So there's lots and lots of people that love these pack-out boxes because they lock together. You can mount them on walls. There's a lot of convenience in the system of boxes. There's nothing internally in those boxes for storing the tools specifically.
Right.
So you have all these people that want to use these boxes for specific things and they can't. And that's what I help everybody with.
Nice. Good gap. So the existing way of doing things, I think you kind of touched on that already. It's just that the tools themselves, the power tools, came in a nice box, but the rest of the box space was pretty much defunct.
Yeah, well, it depends, right? So like a socket set, for example, will come in a blow molded case and that thing keeps things organized. But if you have to carry more than two of them at a time, you really can't. Right. But then when it comes to power tools and stuff, you don't even get the blow molded case most of the time. You usually just get a canvas bag, which is even worse. So, yeah, I mean, these are the pain points. People have all these tools. There's not a lot of good ways if you have to carry a bunch of tools into the job site at once. Not a lot of good ways to do it unless you use modular toolboxes. So expanding the functionality of those boxes was the goal for us.
Nice. Love it. I'm sure that you have a few competitors potentially. So how does your company solve the problem better than existing alternatives out there?
Well, for a long time, we didn't really have any competitors. And, then at that point, it was easy. Really, the only other people in the field when we first started out were people who would design stuff similar to us, but they don't sell finished products. So you could buy files from them and print your own, or people like that also license files to companies like ours. So at the beginning, we didn't really have any competition, but now that's very, very different. There are a lot of competitors in the field. One of the things we do to stay ahead is we just work, man. I mean, last week I put out 6 new inserts. This week we already have 3 ready to go. Just constantly cranking that out to make sure that our variety is unmatched, which it is. I mean, no one else in the field comes even close to the amount of variety that we have. We always got to make sure that we're up on quality control. We put a lot of attention toward customer service. So we really do everything we can to make sure that everyone knows not only are you getting a great product from us, but you're also getting the support you need with it.
Right. Yeah, for people who don't understand e-commerce at all, I mean, 250 SKUs is a lot to have.
250 is not even close. So, I mean, we have 250 products, But for any one of those products, we offer them in different colors. For our socket sets, for example, we also print a legend on the top of the insert that shows you which socket is in which space. So even if you're only dealing with the 4 colors we normally use, every socket insert we sell has 16 different variations just with that. We also offer latches to identify what's in which box. So you could get them with or without latches when you buy the inserts. Some of our products have over 100 SKUs for just one product. So SKUs are easily in the tens of thousands.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot to manage. So let's say I'm a new customer. I just got introduced to your brand. I'm looking at your website. I'm right on your homepage. What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about what your brand does?
So there are still people out there that think that the inserts come with the tools. And that is one of the most irritating issues we face. I make it very obvious on my website every chance I get that we sell the inserts only. The tools and the pack out boxes are not included. The vast majority of the 1-star reviews that my website has are because people didn't get the tools with the inserts. But I understand not everybody knows a lot about tools, but I think it's common sense to understand that you're not getting a $300 impact wrench with a $120 socket set, with a $35 pack out box and a $50 insert. You're not getting all that for $50.
Right.
Again, I think that should be common sense, but just in case it isn't, everywhere on the website, it says inserts only, tools and pack outs not included. But some people manage to miss all that and get upset that they're not getting a lot of tools for free.
Okay. Well, that's a good point. I mean, I could say a lot of comments about that, but I'm just going to leave it be.
Okay.
Can you share a success story, either of like a customer success story or like a company mission that you're proud of that you feel is a big win?
Yeah. I mean, there's been, I think that having to quit my day job within 6 months of starting the business, that was a big deal for me. At the time, with the exception of my wife, my entire family thought I was crazy. But that I was able to turn them around pretty quickly. Aside from that, one of our biggest milestones to date, I had set a goal for myself at the very inception of the company that I wanted to someday buy out one of my competitors. And a few months ago, we did that. We bought Dennis Smallbone Prints, who was one of my competitors. We bought their Shopify, Instagram, and all their IP. So that was a really nice milestone for us. We just did our first trade show recently. We did JLC Live, which growing up in construction, JLC Live was always like a big construction show. And for us to have a booth at JLC was just incredible. Not only a milestone for me, but the experience we had while we were there. The number of people that were coming up to me and telling me how much they love my work. I grew up in construction, but before this, I was a teacher. And there is no better job for a person who wants to feel underappreciated than teaching. So coming from that to doing this now and having people come up to me at JLC Live or write me emails just to tell me what a great job I'm doing, it's just incredible. It's something I'm completely unused to. So that's been really great too.
That's fantastic. Those are some real goodies there. That's great that you're
it's been really great.
Clicking along. You're happy, you're appreciated. There's nothing better, really.
Yeah.
Helps you get up in the morning.
Sure does. Yeah. And as far as help getting up in the morning, not having to commute is also a big win. When I was teaching in Brooklyn and I live on Long Island. I was spending 15 hours a week commuting at least. That's 2 entire work days just in the toilet, and that starts to wear on you after a while. And the fact that now I can just get up and I go right downstairs and I'm at work, that can't be beat.
That's awesome. Congratulations there.
Thank you.
It is rather different, like going from a service worker to, kind of an office job. Like it's night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day. So do you see any trends that are shaping the future of where your company's going, Pete?
I guess, the one big thing is the number of people that own 3D printers now is just rapidly on the rise, which I think is great as a 3D printing enthusiast. But it also does mean that, people don't need me as much because there are plenty of people who design things similar to my designs who sell their files or share their files for free even. So the trend toward more people getting 3D printers and being able to buy files and print things themselves makes it a little harder for me to sell my products when people could get them more or less for free elsewhere.
Yeah. That is a challenge.
It's a challenge, and we work on it. You do find a lot of people who go that route who wind up disillusioned with the whole process. Most of the time that comes down to the fact they don't know what they're doing. I understand that 3D printers are incredible machines and you can basically just click a button and create an object, but you need to know more about it than just that if you want those objects to last a long time and be sturdy and do their job appropriately. So as a result of that, 3D printing sometimes gets a bad name because there are people who don't know what they're doing who do it anyway. And then some people sell that stuff. right? So you wind up getting people who are like, oh, I bought this 3D printed piece of garbage off of Etsy. I'll never make that mistake again.
Right.
So now you have these other people in the industry who don't really know what they're doing, who kind of ruin things a little bit for those of us that do.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that goes on in just about every industry.
Yes.
Kind of got to just turn a blind eye.
It's all you can really do. You know, I've had people get mad at me because I won't share or sell my files. Whereas I know some people that do sell files are in constant legal battles trying to get their work taken down from people who are selling it without authorization. And that's something I simply do not have the patience to deal with.
Right. No, that's why you go the licensing route. Hopefully you don't have to lawyer up ever.
Fingers crossed.
Do you have any advice for other business owners that are looking to stay ahead of the curve, either in e-commerce or just business stuff in general, or maybe some potholes to avoid that you might have encountered along the way?
I would say the one piece of advice I always give to people who specifically are trying to start a 3D printing business is do something original. There are a lot of businesses out there that, you know, print Flexi Dragons or Zoo 3D or fidget spinners. And the people that sell them are not the people that design them. These are people that you can like subscribe to a Patreon and get all their files that you can print yourself and sell, you know, and this winds up just being a race to the bottom because when you have 14,000 people selling Flexi Dragons on Etsy, the only thing you could do is make yours cheaper than the other guy, you know, and now you wind up selling things more or less at cost and it hurts the entire industry. So I would say for sure, and specifically for 3D printing, but for any business in general, do something original. You know, if you want to open a store and sell t-shirts, what's going to make your store different from everybody else that sells t-shirts? Right. If you don't have that figured out, you're not ready to go yet. And I would say that's the main piece of advice that I would give to people trying to start their own business.
I like it. I'm going to reuse that all over the place now. Be original.
Yeah. Original, yeah. The other thing that can't always apply, everything we sell is made to order. So we don't have to keep any inventory at all. And the only inventory we do keep is on rare occasions, let's say we printed something in the wrong color, and we'll keep that in stock, or if we get a return. If you can find yourself in an industry where you do not need to keep inventory, it takes one giant chunk of work out of the entire business.
Right. And
that's something that I'm glad every single day that I don't have to deal with.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Because
obviously you can't apply to every industry, but if it's an option, take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. For selling widgets, I mean, that's a huge hurdle, right? I mean, exporting, importing comes into mind, which a lot of people get curious about, try it, fail, move on.
Right. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I've just never had to worry about. I came into this with no business background whatsoever. So for me, this was literally 100% guesswork from the very beginning. And just having fewer things that I needed to guess about, I think was a big help for me.
For sure. That's awesome. That's great advice too. So looking ahead here, short term, what's next for your company, 10 Spot Tools?
So we do have a few other websites that carry our products, and we're working on getting some more of those. So we kind of just landed another one, which I don't really know that I'm allowed to talk about yet. So I'm going to stay quiet about that. But we're also really in the coming months working on seeing our products carried in brick and mortar stores. So we're going to be working on supply houses, you know, plumbing supply houses, electrical supply houses with some of our products that are more specifically branded towards those trades. And also working on getting our products seen in some tool stores. Well, I think those are really the right places for us is going to be supply houses and tool stores. Not so much just like your regular hardware stores. I don't think that's really where we're looking. But yeah, tool stores and supply houses. We're working on that over like the next 2 months.
Where your true customer probably frequents.
Right. The other thing too, I think, I don't really have any basis for this yet, but we do pretty well on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of older contractors who just don't use social media at all. And I think that, you know, where are you really going to find the contractors that are using social media less? I think it's in the more kind of specific supply houses is where you're going to find the people that are less on social media. So that's should be a pretty much completely untapped market for us.
That sounds real interesting. There's not a lot of tool stores out there these days outside of the big box stores, but
there's not a lot. And a lot of people don't really know what a tool store is. You know, a lot of people, if you say the phrase tool store, they think you're talking about Home Depot. And don't get me wrong, I love Home Depot, but Home Depot is not what I mean when I say a tool store. You know, so on Long Island where I live, there are probably only about 3 tool stores in my county, and probably only another 3 or 4 in the next county over. So there's not really a lot of specific tool stores out there, and it's a shame because the kind of service and the kind of knowledge you're getting from people at stores like that, no one at Home Depot is ever going to touch that. You know, and
it's priceless.
Yeah, it really is. You know, so that's not only where I think our stuff will sell the best, but it's also most where we want to be.
Good deal. Good to have a goal. So, Pete, how can listeners get in touch with 10 Spot Tools? Where should we send them to?
Yeah, well, so the website is 10spottools.com. That's the number 10 word spot word tools.com. That's where our main store is. We also did recently open an Etsy shop, so you can find 10 Spot Tools on Etsy. For socials, we have a Facebook group, also called 10 Spot Tools. That one's number 10 dash capital S Spot Tools. So we have a Facebook group. You can always find me, Pete Cozeolino, on Facebook. Most of the time when I post things that are related to my business, it comes from my personal account, not the business account. So we're very easy to get in touch with. Instagram as well, 10 Spot Tools on Instagram. And through any of our socials, you can link directly to our shop as well. So we are very, very easy to find.
Nice. Thanks, Pete. So that's a wrap here for Founder Freedom. A big thanks to Pete Cozeolino for showing how solving your own problem can become your dream business. From Reddit feedback to 49 printers and a solar-powered workshop, Pete's story is pure entrepreneurial hustle. Check out 10spottools.com and get your tools organized the smart way. If you like what you heard here, subscribe and share this episode. Leave us a review to help other founders find their path to freedom. Until next time, keep creating, keep scaling, and never lose your style.